Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another episode of In the Maktabah. And this time I'm with a friend of mine, student from the Islamic University of Medina, a current student, Fahim, from Cardiff. He's come all the way down from Cardiff, also a place which is close to my heart. You'll find out a bit more about that shortly, inshallah. But let's just go straight into it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Fahim.
Assalamu rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How's it going?
Alhamdulillah, it's going well. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, good, thank you.
First of all, thank you for having me down. Pleasure to be back here. Alhamdulillah, I came a few years ago now.
Yeah.
You came down to Cardiff as well, mashallah, amazing. Before we get started, I want to know, why is it special to you?
Cardiff is where my grandfather used to live.
Okay.
So I went up there when I was young, like very young, stayed up there for a week, got into a lot of trouble. He used to own a post office.
Right. Okay.
So we used to go out hiking on the hills.
Yeah.
Pontypridd is where I used to live.
Yeah.
I don't know whereabouts.
My brother lives there, actually. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A few sheep there.
Lots of sheep there, lots of countryside. So there's two things that I remember. One of them is funny, one of them is a bit kind of mean. But anyway, it was supposed to be a joke at the time. So it was hailstoning, right? And for some reason, my granddad was driving the car and we ended up getting out to fill the hailstones and he drove off while we were running behind. So I'm like, stop the car, it's hailstoning. We were young. Second one was we was climbing a cliff and we didn't realise, before it was a hill, we didn't realise there was a big drop.
Okay.
So when we realised there was a big drop, we scrambled to come back up, me and my two brothers. And when I say we, I've got an older brother who's 1 year older, a younger brother 2 years younger. So we're basically like 11, 12, those type of ages. So as my younger brother's getting back up, I've already got back up. I think there was a rock there in the way. So we kicked the rock, but it actually ended up hitting him.
Oh man, okay, yeah.
While he's trying to get up this cliff. So it was a bit of one of those scary moments where it could have been a life or death scenario. A young guy dies in Cardiff, basically. But alhamdulillah, it went fine. But yeah, Cardiff's nice. I like it, obviously.
Some fun memories of Cardiff there.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
So tell us about Cardiff. Tell us about Fahim before the Islamic University of Medina. Introduce yourself first.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Fahim. And from the Islamic University of Medina at the moment. That's my whole personality, my life at the moment, as the same case as many other students as well. But before that, grew up in Cardiff, normal guy, normal geezer, just growing up. Alhamdulillah, nothing too special, nothing too bad. Just going through the education system. Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
What's your background? Where your family from, and what's the Muslim community like in Cardiff?
Bangladeshi, alhamdulillah, we've got a good community down there. A lot of people from a lot of places, mashallah. But in Cardiff, we've got a bit of a split community, you could say, in terms of you've got the Somalis in one place, you've got the Yemenis in one place, you've got the Bengalis and the Pakistanis. So you've got each area with a group of people, different cultures, mashallah, and different masajid with different admissions, usually based on the cultures.
Tell us about the masjid where we went. We visited, I
Masjid
think,
Noor?
2022, right? And we visited, and Jazakumullah khair, they invited us up there, myself, the brothers in the media, the whole team. I think Khalid was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And we did a conference. What masjid was it? And
that's Masjid Noor. That's Masjid Noor in Butetown in Cardiff, inshallah. So, again, mixed population there specifically, but more so Somali and Yemeni.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the Sheikh of the Masjid is Sheikh Mohammed. He's teaches for a long time, produced lots of students.
Yeah, he's been there for a while. Yeah, so he's produced a lot of students. Still there, still mashallah, still teaching, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
So, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about yourself. When did you decide you wanted to go to the Islamic University of Medina?
Yeah.
What were you doing at the time? Were you working full time, studying full time? What did your parents say about you deciding to get up and go and live in Saudi for 6 years?
Yeah, sure. So originally I was just, like I said, a normal kind of guy going through the education system, started working and was still at uni at the time as well. So I started working from young. I actually got my first job when I was 13, right? And in the takeaways, dishes and packing and all this stuff, So I've been working since 13, to be honest with you, Fridays and Saturdays, and just building that up. And as soon as I was 16, as soon as I was able to, call centers and whatever I could, so multiple jobs at multiple times. So I was just doing that, studying and working, and that was basically my life at the time. And alhamdulillah, I didn't really get into Islamic studies before that. before the University of Medina. Actually, the only thing I was actually doing was a weekly Islamic class, Quran class more so, and I got into that when I was 18. So before that, it was just on and off, kind of going to the masjid for Islamic classes or for Quran class. But I'll be honest with you, we call it truanting, right? Mitching or truanting. We call it mitching in Wales, right?
Yeah.
But truanting. Dad used to drop us off. As soon as he used to go, he was gone as well. So, a lot of that growing up, and didn't really have formal Islamic kind of studying background or Quran lessons or anything like that. So around about 18 years old, I got into it, alhamdulillah. A weekly sort of thing. Again, a lot of lectures on YouTube. Just a general kind of interest into Islamic studies, a general interest into getting better, leaving music, and all of these are, just general things that a person usually goes through, maybe at the stage of university, at the stage of sixth form. So it was just like that, alhamdulillah. And then finally, getting to the point about the Islamic University of Medina, I came across a clip on YouTube. I was scrolling through, and I seen this clip, of Madinah University. I seen this brother, mashallah, explaining that, you can apply and you can get accepted. And I'll be honest with you, I thought, it's not for regular guys. It's not, it's not something, I know I probably should have mentioned it. I don't know, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. In Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with the golden ticket. Yeah. I felt like it was one of those situations. Yeah. I felt like, the guys who've got this, they probably feel like they've got that golden ticket, right? And I wanted that. Yeah. So I made a lot of dua. Seen that, I thought, okay, how can I apply? Started searching around, going to the masajid, saying, can you help me apply? What's going on here? And the thing is, we didn't really have any students at the time except one who was actually in Medina. I didn't know him before this. Yeah. And I was told, there's one student there. So I had a phone call with him and things like that. But again, the application process, he didn't really speak about that too much. Rather, he just helped me a little bit with the advice in terms of Arabic and other things like that. So just trying to figure out the application process. Alhamdulillah, I ended up getting everything together and applying. 2.5 years later, took a bit of time, but alhamdulillah, I got there at the end.
Inshallah.
Accepted.
Got a couple of questions, basically. Sure. One of them is, you said you're the normal guy, but you'd obviously go to madrasa, but then your dad would go and then you'd go off and...
Yeah.
Where did you go? And also, what advice do you give to young people? Okay. Right, obviously, normal young people, because I'm assuming you were practicing, but to what level as well? Okay. Do you get what I mean? So to what level were you practicing? Yeah. What advice do you give to young people, i.e. in college, right? Sure. Who are trying to find their feet? And also, you found that you did your own research, YouTube, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Would you recommend that today?
Okay. So going back to the first one, where did I go? Corner shops, sweets, one-piece sweets at the time, mashallah.
One-piece sweets were amazing.
And then they used to have these drinks as well, the coloured one, LSV.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember halfpence. Do you remember halfpence? Was that too young? Am I too old for you?
Before my time, yeah.
We used to have half a piece sweets. Wow.
No way, okay, mashallah.
Amazing. Half a pence.
Inshallah. Yeah, so sweets and in the park, it was just a thing of, okay, I missed it, Yeah. So it's one of those things. It felt a bit cool and managed to do that for a few times, But yeah, that's where we used to go. It was me and my brother, actually. We used to do it together. So that was the case there. It wasn't all the time, often. Yeah. But that was just growing up,
Yeah.
In terms of the level of practicing, I'd say, it starts off with kind of letting music go. And then it starts off, and then you have rolling up the trousers a bit, above the ankles. And that's the kind of level that, that I was at, and started praying Dhuhr now in the school during lunch times.
Secondary school or college?
Secondary school.
Yeah.
Late secondary school. And that was the level then. And I'll be honest with you, back then it felt amazing because when everyone's going in one direction, you doing that there, right? You going to pray during lunchtime, during the time that everyone else is not praying, it just feels special. It feels nice. When you're the only one with the trousers up, you've got a few others as well, but when you're the only one amongst many, it feels good. And at that time it did feel good. Not so much from the angle of arrogance or anything, but just you felt a lot closer to the deen. You felt like you're doing something. You're making a statement a little bit. Right? Yeah. So
identity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you felt like you've got that identity now. Yeah. There were times even in the classroom, you just put on a mosque hat, and the teacher like, take it off. No, you start up a whole riot about the mosque. It was just unnecessary stuff a lot of the time, but it was just this identity. Like, okay, I'm taking it on now. You're leaving off the music, and it felt good. Felt good, alhamdulillah. And from that, then keeping the prayers on top, on point. These smaller things there, starting to realize, there are ahadith, the Quran, its translation, Arabic and all of these other things like that. Just having an introduction, not so much to the subjects themselves, but knowing that they do exist and that there is another level. But most of the time it was just searching for motivation. That's what it was. A lot of the time you're just searching for lectures that can, you know, give you a goosebump, that can make you get scared a little bit. Just searching for that next buzz, you know.
Yeah.
And then you often find that as soon as you've gone through a lot of lectures, you're searching even more now, and you're missing that buzz, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to maintain a level. And crossing over now to actually starting to study, being introduced to certain books, you start to see the difference between actually studying and just searching for motivation or searching for lectures that can give you that buzz. What the studying did for me, anyway, was that it pushed that level of, what can we say? I guess it pushed the threshold up a little bit more. When you used to feel that spiritual decline, the level was pushed up a little bit more, because now you've got that knowledge. It's not so much motivation; it's more disciplined learning. It's more, you know, you've got certain things that you've memorized, certain things that you know now, and it's more of a process. You've pushed that threshold of. It's hard to put into words, but I hope you know what I mean.
No, I think you put it in a nice way where you said, you know, there's motivation, but now when you're studying, you've got discipline. It's not just motivation. Now you're disciplined. So it's a level up, definitely.
Yeah.
And would you say when you went to the Jamia, when you applied, would you say that you were, before that, a student of knowledge? Or
Never. Never.
So do you have to be a student of knowledge to apply to the Jamia? Or?
No. And to be honest with you, this is one of my biggest regrets, because I thought as soon as I get there, I can hit the floor running. As soon as I breathe in the air of Medina, I'm going to become a student of knowledge, be able to study 12 hours a day, no problems at all. It was very different, right? I went there with no Arabic except the basics, you know, like how are you, and inshallah, and mashallah, assalamu alaikum, right? The basics, right? Whatever uses to get by. So I went there, and even at the point of, you know, paperwork, they were asking me for my forms in Arabic, for my papers in Arabic, and I remember I was standing there, right, and he was asking me for my papers. I didn't know the name for paper, the word for paper. He was asking me for that. And I was just staring into him, staring into, you know, blank space. And he just grabbed them off me, and, you know, he was getting frustrated because a lot of new students, the intake day is crazy. So all of this stuff, and as a new student, you just come there, you know, a lot going on. It's quite overwhelming, and all of these different interactions. Oh man, I need to learn Arabic. And I found that to be one of the biggest problems for me, anyway, when I went over there. But in terms of studying, it was difficult. It was difficult to acclimatize to that. I was used to just an hour, 2 hours a week before that. And I thought I could transfer my whole life, or, you know, change my whole life to being able to study full time. It was hard. I actually wanted to go back.
We'll come to that. Two things I think we'll come back to. The importance of starting Arabic journey before you go there. So it's not such a big it's not so overwhelming. And how you're preparing students for that with your own institute. And also the second point is, how do you manage when you feel overwhelmed? That's, you know, you've got lots going on. We were speaking about that earlier today, right? As well. And that happens a lot today, for example, because of this kind of drive to be productive. I think it's overboard, you know, productivity. How productive were you today? Like, come on, man, give me a break. Let me have a day off.
100%.
Right? But anyway, you were at university when you got accepted, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
What were you studying, and what happened? How did you balance that? Because students are different. Some students are like, well, I can't. Parents are like, no, you're not stopping university. You're going to finish your university. It's the most important thing. Secular education, if you don't do that, your entire future is going to be wasted. And then there's the opposite, which is do what you want. And then there's a balance. What was your situation?
So for me, I actually seen on the video there, the one that I watched to actually apply to the university, the advice at the end was apply and carry on with your life. And that was an advice that I took there. I thought, you know what, I'm going to apply, but at the same time, I'm going to try and get a career, try and study and live my life here. If I get accepted, then that's great. I'll be honest with you, though, I was more on the optimistic side that I would get accepted. I used to tell everyone, you know, my nephews and my nieces and my brothers, you're going to be this many years old as soon as I come back from the uni. You know, I was planning everything a long time ahead, right? So I was very optimistic at the time.
Which is good. Thiqa, isn't it? Having thiqa
100%.
with Allah.
Yeah, that's it. And I made so much dua, and I was like, you know what's going to happen? It's going to happen, inshallah. But a year went by, and my parents were like, what happened to the university? And, you know, my siblings, you know, they mess around as well. What happened to the university, man? You know, just messing around with that, you know, and kind of making fun a little bit, just between siblings. And, you know, I was like, nah, you'll see, it'll happen. right? And alhamdulillah, it ended up happening. But yeah, I was studying, carried on with normal life, started working. I was studying psychology at uni for a year. I wanted to change it over afterwards. After I started a job within the finance world, I thought, you know what, maybe this makes a bit more sense in terms of career-wise, or getting a job. And psychology has always been a hobby, something that I found interesting. Yeah. So that's what led me into it. But I was planning to change it over. Yeah.
So you was at uni studying psychology.
Yeah.
You were planning to change, and then you got accepted to the Jamia.
Yeah. Exactly.
After the first year.
After the first year.
And you thought, okay, I was going to change anyway. Let me just forget uni and go to the Jamia.
100%. I mean, even if I did start my other degree, it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah. What other degree were you going into, and why? What were you doing in finance? Was this the ANC time and the traffic monsoon time?
No, this was a long time after that, right?
Okay.
This was I used to work in Deloitte as just on the admin team, administration for the audits that they do, and I looked into that. Was in the environment. I thought, you know what, maybe I can get into this. I like the way it works. I like the numbers. I like what I see, and I thought, let me get into accounting and finance and maybe try and do something with it. Maybe get into accounting or auditing or something later on down the line, inshallah. But yeah, that's where I wanted to go into.
Before we go to the Jamia time, I want to touch on something which I think is important for today's youth, especially, which is this work ethic that it seems like you had from young. 13, you started working Friday, Saturdays. I guess you get some independence because you've got more money in your pocket. Yeah. You spoke about, we're going to speak about traffic monsoon and that in a minute ago, working in finance. All this while you're still studying, while you're a student, working as well as studying.
Sure.
And even the psychology of it, I think there's a lot of talk about, I mean, you see those memes of traders, isn't it? Right? Yeah. And how much what an emotional roller coaster it is. 1 minute you're happy and the next minute you're down sad because the chart's gone down and then it goes green and you need to have a strong psychology to be able to even do business or to do trade, right? There's books like The Psychology of Money, and there's a crossover between finance and psychology as well, I think. Traffic, tell me give some advice to youth, today's youth that I think they're quite privileged. I think they're spoon-fed. I don't think they understand work ethics enough. If you say go and do some voluntary work when you're 15, they're like, well, I'm going to do voluntary work for, I need to be paid. And they want to be paid £15 an hour and they've got no experience. How much were you working for when you was 13? And so, tell me about your experiences.
Sure. So I used to volunteer actually in the beginning from around about 11. So I started volunteering at around about 11, and this is where I'd learned how to pack rice up properly and make a good salad and all of these different things, and make chips and onion bhajis and papadums and all of these other things like that, right? And I used to work in the Indian takeaways. Yeah. Most Bengalis do. Right? So it's a
starting point.
Most Bengalis do. It's our thing, right? It's our thing. We're good at it. So alhamdulillah. So I started.
Have you got a restaurant yourself?
No, I haven't.
Will you have one in the future, inshallah?
Well, we did actually have a dessert shop. So me and my siblings, we opened the dessert shop for a while. But always been in the Indian restaurants. Working either in the back or in the front as a waiter. So I started volunteering around about 11, learning the trade just simply. Alhamdulillah, I started getting around about £5 a day for volunteering. That was good.
£5 a day?
£5 a day, yeah.
My kids won't work for £5 an hour.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, £5 a day. So £5 a day at the time. Then after that, at 13, I got my first official job. And it was actually something that I stole from my brother unintentionally. So he actually broke his arm at the time and he couldn't go into work. So they needed an emergency replacement on the day, and he said, "You got any experience?" I said, "Yep." He was like, "Okay, come along." Jumped into the car, went to the restaurant, showed them what I've got, the experience, swiping and the techniques that I learned. And
from voluntary work, by the way.
Yeah, from voluntary work. So you have to build up the value. You have to build up the experience there. You can't just expect to go somewhere just for them to be like, "Hey, you know what? We need you." And there's got nothing to offer, right? So went there, showed them what I could do. Alhamdulillah, they said, "You know what? We've got 2 branches. We're going to put your brother into the other branch. Why don't you work here?" I was like, "Okay, I'm cool with that."
Stole your brother's job, basically.
Yeah, stole his job. Yeah, so he got moved to the smaller branch, and I was like, "Okay, I'm happy here." Right. So alhamdulillah, I started working there, and they paid me £50 for 2 days. So I used to work on Fridays from around about 4, and oftentimes we'd get home around about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Sometimes later, right? And then on a Saturday we used to go again around about 4. And it used to be even a bit more late then. So 2 a.m., maybe 3, maybe 4 sometimes. It used to get really late.
Yeah.
So all those hours, we used to get paid £50.
Sounds good for a 13-year-old, though.
Yeah. But the thing is, my dad used to take £40 of that.
Well done, Dad.
Taxed, right? I got taxed.
Anta malaka li abika, the hadith, obviously. And your money belongs to your dad, right?
Honestly, it was...
Especially that age, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, it was the best thing, honestly. Alhamdulillah. Why? Because we just had... It was me and my brother. So that's why I'm saying we here. But we used to keep £10. With that £10, that was lunch money, that was clothing, that was haircuts, that was anything you need, everything you need from that £10.
Yeah, not today though, but yeah.
It was
good. It lasted. You learned to budget.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, sometimes a bit too much. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, it pushed us to really appreciate every single pound. Yeah. And really think about every single pound. Really try and save up all of these skills we picked up from having that £10 during the week. Save up, the whole month you got £40. Yeah. You're not going to spend that on something,
Yeah.
That's going to waste your time. It's going to waste your money. Right? So games, PS3s and PS4s and stuff like that, we were just completely far away from that because we couldn't afford it, right? Yeah. In terms of what we had that. So we used to think like that, me and my brothers, and we used to save that, think about businesses, think about what to get, go and buy cans of Coke maybe not the Coke we should have mentioned right now.
Back then it wasn't an issue.
We used to buy these cans and things like that, right, and sell them off. Yeah. Used to buy a pack of like 10 cakes for £1 and sell them each and sell them each for £1 and get like £9 profit. Yeah. Stuff like that, right? Lollipops and you name it, right? So just investing and starting up from young. But I think it's extremely important, to build that work ethic, get used to working. Yeah. And someone said something to me at the time. It was actually a cousin of mine who, was very much into business and very much followed the same sort of path as well. He said, make your own money, be your own man. And he instilled that into me from very young.
Make your own money, be your own man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So as soon as you can do that, the sooner you can do that, the sooner you're a man. That's the way I thought about it anyway. I thought the sooner I can be independent from having to depend on someone else for money, the sooner I can actually be my own man. And that's the way I thought about it. Yeah. And alhamdulillah, that really, drove me to say, okay, you know what, I need to work. I can't be asking my parents for money. It has to be the other way around. I have to be able to give them something. And that's the way it should be. So yeah, I think from a young age, I mean, inshallah, if I have a son as well, I'll do the same thing, at least once a week. Just to get the feel of work,
Yeah, but it won't be in a restaurant. It'll be content creation.
No, it'd have to be in a restaurant. Yeah,
have to be.
Yeah, it'd have to be in a restaurant. That's where you learn. That's
the hard,
high pressure situations. The heat, burning yourself with oil, and all of these different experiences. Washing up plates.
Be careful. Someone might get us down for child labour.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. My 13's alright, isn't it?
Yeah.
13. It's not like he's 7 or 8 or something. Yeah, he's 13. He's an adult now. Secondary school.
Yeah. The content creation stuff that's easy work. Alhamdulillah, in the back of it's not so bad, but you need to get your hands dirty.
You need to learn
that people are out there working hard. And,
I mean, I used to do paper round, and obviously they banned it now, I think. I don't know if you can still do paper round, but I used to basically wake up at like 5 a.m. in the morning, go to the newsagent, pick up this big heavy bag of newspapers, and then cycle around for like an hour, dropping them in people's doors, and come back at 6 in the morning.
Wow. Okay,
but the bad day was Sundays. Sundays was terrible because I don't know if you know the Sunday paper. It's like a paper plus magazines plus inserts plus. You had to take 2 bags. One bag which was heavy, go back to the newsagents again to take a second bag and go out on a second
What age
round.
was this?
This was beginning of secondary school, so same age, 11, 12, 13. It was like £10 a week.
Amazing.
Right, so that was like a year and a half, 2 years. And I think the best day was when we ended up having a moped to do the paper round with.
Nice.
Found a moped somewhere.
Flying,
it was so much fun, man. But anyway, I think hard work is important. You're right. Restaurant's better than, especially for your younger. You need that kind of
100%.
that graft.
Yeah.
Traffic Monsoon and what was it called? ANC. I remember the time that everyone was going crazy about that.
You've got loads of them. ACN, OneCoin, Traffic Monsoon.
What they call? They call them network marketing, and other people called them. What were they called? Come on, help us out here.
Multi-level.
Pyramid schemes. That's it.
Yeah.
Pyramid schemes.
My instincts wants to refute that straight away, right? Because we used to get told about that stuff. People are going to call them pyramid schemes. This is what you say. You say in a normal job they've got a hierarchy, so drop that on them. So all this stuff.
They knew what was coming. They anticipated.
100%. So that was an experience. Alhamdulillah. It was actually my dad's account that my brother used to run, and I used to help him run that. Right. Yeah. When I say help him, presentations. We used to do cold marketing at 14. Me and my brother. And
explain what's cold marketing so people know. I think it's an important skill outside of Traffic Monsoon or ANC or whatever it's called. Sales, networking, cold calling. I think it's all important. Go on.
Cold marketing is essentially when you don't know a person and you're trying to lead them to a sale. So you take them from being a cold lead at this point, they're known as, and you try to push them over to either a warm lead and then finally a hot lead, right? Someone that is more likely to buy. and you could kind of put them on the spectrum in terms of the temperature, in terms of how likely they are to buy. There are ways you can do that, right? Getting onto a first name basis and getting the contact details and things like that, just to kind of warm them up, you say, right? But yeah, we used to go out in town and walk around oversized suits at 14 and just be like, hey, you want to
have you got any pictures?
I've got a picture. I'll show you in a bit.
Send it. We'll try to post it so people can see you as a 14-year-old in an oversized suit.
Yeah, I've got that.
That's interesting.
Holding a big iPad, just there, right? Mashallah. So yeah, I've got that. I'll send it over. But yeah, we used to go there, say, look, change your life. Job stands for just on broke. All of these,
Job stands for what?
Yeah, just on broke.
Okay.
So they used to teach us all these nice little lines, mashallah, make a change, all you're going to have is change, and all this, all this kind of stuff, right? So you're kind of preaching this thing over here, and you're trying to get people, mashallah. So we used to do this kind of stuff, mashallah, go into town and do that stuff.
Yeah. I think just to clarify why it's called a pyramid scheme, because you're not actually selling the product, all of the products there. You're getting people on board to sign up, and you get paid while they sign up, and then they get paid for signing up more people.
Based on that,
And you're not actually selling the product, you're selling the pyramid.
So the way they tackled that, or the way that these guys actually tackled that,
to make it legal, so that it's not illegal completely.
They used to sell services as well, and with those services, some percentages used to trickle over as well. So then it was like, okay, we're selling a product here, or a range of products, but at the same time, we also have a referral fee. Which just happened to be a lot more.
A lot more. It wasn't even comparable, basically.
Yeah, crazy. A lot more than the products and services.
The product. I think everyone jumped on it.
Yeah. But it was a good experience. I mean, doing all of that, learning those skills. Mostly the mindset that I took away from it, in terms of they used to really push a bulletproof mindset, dealing with rejection.
This is key.
It was huge. It was huge in terms of learning how to do all of that at a young age, and developing that over time, and also looking for opportunities, looking for different skills that you can develop in that area.
Communication skills is another great one that you picked up there as well.
Yeah, doing presentations, all of these different things. Massive. Helped me in school, to be honest with you. A great deal as well, alhamdulillah.
Did you make money? That's the question.
So, alhamdulillah.
Did you get rich?
No,
did you retire your parents? Oh, by the way, just a quick shout out. This advice is free advice. We're not charging you money for it, and you can actually utilize some of it to build a business.
Mashallah, the 100%. Nowadays it's all paid, right, for you to get this information. Paid, so especially the lead stuff, so packages up a course and says, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do business.
How to make 6 figures.
Yeah, it says, find the niche, get it. It's all basic stuff. It's
all basic stuff.
A lot of the time it comes back down to discipline and mentorship. But inshallah we can speak on that, But sorry, what was the question?
So did you make lots of money?
Oh, okay. So the money side of things.
Because obviously that's what people want to know, isn't it? ANC, traffic net, go on.
Yeah, no, we did make money, alhamdulillah. From that, we did make money. So, again, through the referrals, we managed to kind of raise up the ranks and go up the ranks a little bit, alhamdulillah, to the point where it was actually quite good. And then it went quite bad, right? So
how did it go bad? What happened with Traffic Monsoon and ANC?
So ACN itself
that's it.
Was actually something that was going quite good for us. And after, a period of time, they actually introduced healthcare products and creams and all of these other things. They've moved on from the essential services to the health and beauty sector. It's a lot more difficult to sell. Creams that cost extortionate amounts compared to just converting someone's gas and electricity bill. So it became quite difficult then. And generally, the whole idea of it being a scam, and a lot of people by then have tried it and failed and pushed on that narrative. A lot of people, so it became extremely tough. And you're only in a certain area that you can call out to for so long, and
everyone's doing it.
So it got really tough.
It got saturated. People stopped making lots of money.
Exactly. So as soon as that stopped, then slowly you started to see people kind of drop down.
And then Traffic Monsoon came along.
And then Traffic Monsoon came down. And it sounded amazing, right? You just click something, watch an ad, and you get paid. I was on it. A lot of us, right? I was in sixth form at the time, and I was just going through the ads, And
in class.
100%.
Making money, passive income.
Always. So, going through it, making, alhamdulillah, I made some money on that as well. So, again, that died down. And then there was this OneCoin scam as well, which is out there now, documentaries about the scam. But I went over to London for that. And I remember, actually, I was mentioning...
Did you pay for the workshop, or did
you... No, so... no, I'm sure the workshop was free. But for me at the time, I stopped working at the time because it was exam season. And I didn't have much money. In fact, I only had enough for the actual bus fare down to London, from Cardiff, right? Paid for that. I had a group of people with me as well that I recruited from Cardiff. We all came down. And I remember going in to buy an ice cream There's a crush from KFC, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough for that. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, I'm broke. And that's when I realized, okay, yeah, I need to figure something out, right? But, I came down, went to the conference, same sort of thing that you see all the time. They run everyone up and get everyone standing and shouting and give you this massive pump to go and recruit more people. I go and tell everyone about the opportunity. And then you just go back home, the same thing, and next thing you know, it's a scam. And just been trying so many different things, e-commerce and selling. I used to even sell dog merchandise at a point, right?
Yeah.
Everything, right? I've sold a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that was all before Jamia, basically.
Yeah, all before Jamia. And then after Jamia, there was another phase of different types of businesses.
Which we'll speak about.
Like that,
Okay, we've had I think that's really useful, obviously, in terms of, as we're going to see, shaping who you are, basically, right? Tell me about the Jamia. So now you dropped out of psychology at university and decided you're going to go and study in the Jamia.
Yeah.
You mentioned your first experience feeling a bit overwhelmed and stuff like that. Tell me how it was at the Jamia. Once you've gone there, who you staying with? You're in the Ma'had straight away.
Yeah.
How was it?
So after the first 2 days, I was looking for flights back home.
Really?
Yeah, I was looking for flights back home, on the phone with my parents and coming back.
Not crying and everything.
No, yeah, I was in tears. I'm coming back, and it was tough. I was like, I can't do this. Maybe I can study from home. Maybe I can just carry on studying Arabic from my room, go to the masajid, just learn at home. I don't have to be here. All of these thoughts are running through my mind. I'm pausing my life. What about earning and all of these other things like that? Right? I was going through it, in this small dorm room that I had. I was like, it was a tough time. So just getting through that was quite tough. Yeah. And of course, I didn't know Arabic. I didn't know anyone there at the time. And the only student that was there was in the master's program, but I didn't see him until like a month after.
Yeah.
So,
you were the only student from Cardiff at that time in the Jamia.
Yeah, except from the master's student who I didn't see. So, again, I didn't know anyone there.
And Sheikh Mohammed Abdurrahman was in Qasim at this time. Okay.
Yeah. So, I was messaging him as well. I was messaging him hoping that he felt homesick as well, so he can tell me, you're going to get over it. I messaged him, I said, did you feel homesick? He was like, no, to be honest with you, I didn't. I was like, okay, so it's just me, right? Okay.
That helped though?
No, it didn't help. I was thinking, I thought he's going to say to me, I felt homesick as well, it's cool, just write it out, you'll be okay. Yeah. He was like, no, I didn't feel homesick. I was like, okay, it's just me now. So I wanted to go back home. Alhamdulillah, made a lot of dua, carried on. And alhamdulillah, it's just one morning I woke up and it's like it was taken out of my heart, honestly.
Alhamdulillah. How long after being there would you say that was?
Within the week.
Within the week.
After the second day, it was tough, and then within that week, alhamdulillah, it was good. And I realized then the main thing for me to actually get onto a level playing field, I'd say, with the other students was to actually really focus on Arabic.
Yeah.
This is where I started really kind of looking into different methods, trying to find different ways to learn Arabic. Quick ways that I could actually use straight away and learn how to speak fast. Yeah. This is where I came up with my own sort of methods and things like that, right? Because I'd go out and I'd realize, a second, a lot of the sentences are just repetitive.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the times I'm saying the same thing, maybe just changing a single word.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a technique to this. And I did find that technique. It was just make a sentence, have one interchangeable word.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, okay, it's not so bad. I can just memorize the sentence and just use different vocabulary in different places.
Yeah.
So that's what I came up with. And I used to make, notes with 4 sentences for a specific scenario, and then change a word within that sentence, and I'd have so many different combinations.
Yeah.
And it gave me confidence, and that really helped me with a lot more. Because that confidence, then when you say, I've memorized this sentence, I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it, I go into a shop, and don't get me wrong, the response was tough. As soon as I used to respond.
It's 2 parts, isn't it? It's not a monologue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you say something very confidently, and they reply to you, and a lot of the times I'm listening to the sound, I'm trying to type it into Google Translate, figure out what they said, so it was a lot of that. But alhamdulillah, figured out that sort of thing there, and after I got comfortable with the Arabic language, then things became a lot easier.
Yeah.
So I'd say for any student, definitely starting before, learning Arabic before, learning how to actually study before as well.
Yeah.
There's one thing studying, there's learning how to study as well. Setting yourself a timetable, setting yourself a routine, being able to actually set a structured method of study rather than doing everything in one go, which is often the case.
Yeah.
It's better that you study slowly over time, know your own level, know where you fit in as well, how far you actually want to go with those studies, have a plan, right, rather than taking on everything and trying to specialize in everything in one go.
Yeah.
That often leads to massive decline.
Yeah. We're going to come to Arabic with Fahim shortly, and your own method and how you teach and stuff like that. So, and those are really valuable tips for students in terms of getting confident speaking when they're in the Islamic University, for new students specifically.
Yeah.
What other tips would you give to students that are applying now and they, or are just getting accepted now? For those first couple of weeks, that difficult time when you don't know any Arabic, you're completely thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
Obviously, students are at different levels. Some go and they already know some Arabic. Some they're on zero, right?
Yeah. So I'll generalize it, and the reason why is because in Medina we've got an advantage there. We've got the Haram, where students can actually go to, and that's one of the biggest things that can help you whilst you're there, because everything else is pretty new to you.
The Haram being the Prophet's Masjid, basically.
The Prophet's Masjid. So you go there, you spend time there. Alhamdulillah, you find a lot of peace there. But everything else is pretty new, and it's going to overwhelm you a bit. I'd say for new students, try your best to find other new students as well. Try your best to find old students. Go out there, socialize. Don't just lock yourself in your room. It's very easy to, because you don't know anyone. You don't know the language. You don't know anything about anything. And you're just there. If you just stay in your room, it's going to be very lonely. It's going to be very isolated, and it's going to be very tough. Get out there, socialize. Go for some food. Go and get some drinks. Go and go to the bookshops, get a feel for things, and just spend some time getting settled. For me, it was very small things. I mean, I've never heard of other students doing this, but I used to do things like get a specific mug from my home and put it there on my table, and that used to make all the difference.
Yeah,
I used to feel like home, So I used to get things from my house and take certain things, take a spoon, take a fork, take a plate, just so I could feel like this is my place now. I recognize these things, and it was for me. I don't know the psychology behind that, but it was a thing that really helped me, just seeing things from my home in this new place, in my dorm room. Right? So that really helped me. So I'd say just settle yourself first, get used to things, go out, see where the grocery stores are, where you can get your thobes, the basic essentials. Because when you feel like you can't do your laundry, you don't know where the milk is, and that overwhelms you a lot.
Yeah.
Right? You feel like you don't have the essentials. So get that out the way first.
What are the top 5? I guess there's a number of questions here. Number one, what's the top 5 places they need to know to go to? Like you said, where to get your laundry. And is there something like this that the students are given like a map where they say, okay, look, here's where you can get your stuff washed, here's where you can go and eat. Yeah. Here there's like an induction week.
Yeah, so there are things that have been developed. And in fact, we used to actually run a program for new students over there. It hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah.
But we used to get things together for the new students. We used to come down. We used to have like a get together. Explain how things work. What they need, and this is where they'd all meet each other and things like that as well. Sorry, and they'd also do activities, tug of war and wrestling and all of these other things. So it's quite nice. We haven't done that in a while, to be honest with you, but inshallah, we're going to carry that on. But that really helps. But in terms of the things that they need to know, definitely, the baqala, the grocery store, the convenience store, we call it, right?
That's like your news agency, your corner shop, basically.
Yeah, you get everything there, right? You get everything there, even shoes and everything nowadays. So you can get everything there. So
is that inside the Jamia or outside?
Inside and outside.
Both. Okay.
So they've got both. So you need to learn what that is. That's just for basic necessities. Where to get your laundry done. The bookstore, of course, you're going to need books. Also, you can find the stationery in there. Other than that, just the food places. Where you're going to eat, where you're going to eat at, and. Other than that, I think.
So give the students a couple of names of food places that you'd recommend. Top 3 food places for you in Medina.
So for me, it used to be very different when I was in the uni. I used to be living in the university itself, and then I moved out, right?
Yeah.
So whilst
you moved out when you got married, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for students in the uni, let's leave the married students for now. So once they're married, they can sort themselves out. They're all right.
So in the uni, I'll be honest with you, I used to go to the cafeteria.
Okay.
So the cafeteria, I used to eat there. Alhamdulillah, it was okay. People have their opinions about it. A lot of rumors, a lot of different things going around, but I used to find it convenient. It was okay for me, alhamdulillah. But on a good day, sorry, you said?
No, I was going to say, the rumour that when I was there was don't eat the mat'am food because they put something in it to reduce your testosterone.
Yeah, that's still around. That
rumour's still there. Because
to keep the students focused, right?
Keep the students focused. Yeah. Obviously, that's not true, is it?
Yeah. Well, I can't confirm.
It's a rumour. No one knows.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, go ahead.
So that's still around. A lot of people say a lot of different things about that, but I used to use it. Alhamdulillah.
That's one. The cafeteria inside the Jamia.
The cafeteria in the Jamia.
That's not the restaurant, no. That's the cafeteria inside. Or you mean the restaurant?
The restaurant.
The main place where you're going to get your food. Okay.
Basically, you have to sign up and pay for everything.
Yeah.
Then there's a place that I used to go to, which was like the spot, right, closest to the uni. Even now, sometimes I still go and get it. It's called Fast Burger.
Fast burger.
Fast burger. But the thing is, they're the slowest burger place I've ever been.
Yeah.
So everyone knows this, right? They call fast burger, but they're the slowest place you can find in Medina. That's from my experience, right?
Yeah.
But that's that, right?
That's walking distance as well.
Yeah.
From the Jamia, you can walk in Faisaliya. Is that where that is, or
no? It's just behind Dar al-Nasiha.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just behind Dar al-Nasiha. Yeah. So it's just there, and then you find, of course, the Shuaybiladi as well. That's Faisaliya.
Yeah.
So that's like maybe a 15-minute walk, but with an electric scooter, which everyone's got now, 5 minutes.
Everyone's got electric scooters?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Really?
Electric scooters is the thing now.
Even though it's hot and everything, they're on electric scooters?
100%. Electric scooters, electric scooters.
What, renting or they bring their own?
Yeah, you buy it from Amazon, yeah. So Amazon or Noon or any of the other services you've got there. And that's another tip I'd recommend as well. As soon as you get there, get an electric scooter because it'll help you a lot.
It'll help you a lot?
Yeah, big time. I've got one as well.
Excellent. That's good. That's some good tips.
Inshallah.
Just to go for those little local.
Yeah, local, and even just around the campus, because the campus is quite big itself.
Yeah.
So from the Ma'had, for example, to your dormitory, from the Arabic Institute to your dormitory, for example, that's a long distance, especially if you're in the older dorms.
Yeah. It's expanded a lot, obviously, since I was there. It used to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. 3 places to eat. Places where you need to know for new students. Any other things that kind of like must knows for new students that you'd say?
You need to know where the admissions officers are.
Yeah.
Where to get your documents done.
Yeah.
Where to go if you have any problems. Your bank card, your room key if that gets lost.
Yeah.
I used to be dealing with this stuff for quite a while, right? So I was mandoob for around about almost 2 years.
What's a mandoob and how?
So mandoob is basically a representative for that country.
Yeah.
So we have different countries there. And each country has a mandoob. We actually had 3 for a while, right? So it was myself, it was a brother who used to deal with tickets, and another brother as well who dealt with kind of general affairs, mashallah.
Yeah.
So I used to deal with the admission side of things, taking on new students, dealing with people going away for semesters and returning and visas and things like that. So I was always in these offices, going in and out. And it can be stressful in the beginning, but you have to have a lot of patience. You have to understand that you're not in your own country. They have different methods, different ways, different time delays, and so many different things. You're going to be standing there thinking, why can't you just print this one piece of paper? He's going to be making you wait there. He's going to make you wait there for hours, for just one piece of paper. It's just the way it works. You have to bite the bullet.
And not get frustrated, not get angry, not take it out on the worker.
It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. You're not going to change it. You're not going to change it, right? So,
culture. I understand the different cultures.
Exactly.
Basically.
You have to adapt to what they're used to.
Yeah.
You can't go there and have this entitled kind of mentality that you have to do everything my way, right? You're going there to them. They're giving you a scholarship. The least you can do is wait a couple of hours. So a lot of people speak negative about it. I flip it around and say, look, try and have as much patience as you can. Sometimes they do take it too far, but that's the rare case. Alhamdulillah. So I think that's very important to know. Also, the printing shop as well. Knowing where to print books, papers, documents, knowing where that is very important. And
you also buy the mudhakirat from those printing shops as well, isn't it? Which are the booklets for the classes and stuff.
Yeah, you could say revision guides, booklets as well. Yeah, so that's very important.
Excellent. Ma'had.
Yeah.
Did the whole 2 years, or did you skip? Did you stay longer? Some people try to extend it and make it 3 years just so they can get more time in the haram before they start the Jamia. Yeah. Did you do that? And if not, why?
So apparently they were clamping down on that. So a lot of students, just to explain that a bit more, what they do is they actually fail by purpose in order to take a reset of the semester. I think now that the Ma'had is extremely strict. I think if a person tries that and they generally, a good student, they're going to get caught out or they're going to get pulled in. And a lot of the times people are getting sent home now very often.
Really, for that?
Yeah, wow. I've seen a lot of students be kicked out, especially dealing with that mandoob role. You see a lot of students, message you, I've been kicked out, this is going on, that's going on. So various reasons. But I did the whole 2 years, alhamdulillah, from the beginning to the end. I was good, alhamdulillah, I was good. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I struggled a lot. It was actually the hardest thing that I did, right? Because I didn't know any Arabic at all. Going to the very first lesson, everyone's flying. And you've got the students there as well who are not meant to be there. The students who are just there to memorize and things like that. Yeah. And it's great.
They know Arabic, they're fluent, but they want to use their time to do other studies, like memorize Quran, outside studies, basically.
And that's good if they're doing that. But the problem is a lot of them, sometimes they used to sit in the beginning of in the front of the classroom, answering all of the questions, right? Just, this, and this. teachers think, wow, these students are on fire, right? And you're just there like, what's going on, right?
Yeah. So you look like the stupid one, basically, or the one that's like not working hard.
Majority of the students, and you've got a couple of students there who've advanced, mashallah, and they're flying through, and you're just there. So yeah, it was tough. Alhamdulillah, managed to pick it up after a few months. But in the beginning, you're sitting there looking at someone, open their mouth and words coming out in Arabic that you don't understand. 25 hours a week, they're just carrying on speaking, and you're there every day, 5 hours a day, and just. You go home.
5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah. You're there, just overwhelming, subhanAllah. So, yeah, this is what led me to actually really try and pick up the Arabic as soon as I could.
Yeah. And do you think that had an influence on you setting up your own institute, Arabic with Fahim, that we're going to speak about?
Yeah, massively. So, the institute I set up is based on this method that I used for myself to actually learn Arabic and to actually remain in Medina, right? I mean, that's the thing that really pushed me at the time to say, you know what, this is okay, alhamdulillah, I'm starting to get it, starting to communicate, able to go out and get by. It's not so bad, I'm able to study now in classrooms and things like that. So, alhamdulillah, using that time there, that struggle, I managed to actually unintentionally make a program for myself that I thought, wait a second, I can actually teach this. And I actually started teaching it unofficially, not kind of charging or opening up classes for it, but just sharing the method. And after that, alhamdulillah, opened up a class and started that up.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
you finished the Ma'had. What kulliyah did you choose and why?
Sharia. So fiqh, I've always seen it to be something that opens up your mind. Right? Something that allows you to think, allows you to see different angles and perspectives. And the more I've stayed there and the more I've progressed within it, I've just realized to be quiet, right? Because you think you've got something in the beginning, right? Especially in the beginning, because we actually studied this book, right? So we studied this book over here.
Yeah.
And this is a Hanbali text.
Yeah.
So you're looking at fiqh from a Hanbali lens.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at this this book from this lens and you're studying fiqh just from one madhab like this, in the beginning, it's like, this is it. It's this or nothing else, right? So I have to be studying matters or subjects and things within the madhab, and you think this is just the way, there's no other way, there's no other possibility, right? And then a year goes by, 2 years go by, you hear this opinion, you hear this opinion, hear this opinion. A teacher comes in and he's teaching you comparative fiqh instead of just fiqh, and you realize, wait a second, there's different things, there's different sayings, there's different speeches which have been weighed up and given preference to. And then you kind of take a step back and say, you know what, let me calm down, study, keep my head down and just get this over and done with and start to look into the other madhahib and figure out what's going on, So, alhamdulillah, it's been a learning curve. It's been a process of learning to be quiet more than anything, I'd say.
Yeah. Learning what you don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of it is there's a lot of knowledge out there. And 100%. This is one view, I guess, is if it's an issue of ikhtilaf, it's ikhtilaf, which is difference of opinion. Rawd al-Murbi' is, like you said, it's a book on Hanbali fiqh, explanation of a book called Zad al-Mustaqni', and which that itself is a mukhtasar of another book on the Hanbali fiqh, one of the main textbooks. When I was at the Jami', they didn't used to teach this. They used to teach Bidayat al-Mujtahid instead, which is somewhere there, right? What happened? Why did they change it? And tell me about this, because now there's two systems running parallel in Sharia, isn't there?
Yeah.
Give us a breakdown of it. And for the new students, what will they be studying?
Okay, as for why they changed it, I have no clue. I'm not too sure why they changed it. I mean, from the wisdoms of it is that I guess the caliber of students before was that they used to come to the university and it was treated as a university, as university level studies, meaning that a person must have actually gone through secondary school and college studies, and up until that level they've got a madhab at least, or they've studied a madhab to a certain degree, and now they can go into comparative fiqh. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe you can share some more.
I think you're right, because the university is mixed, right? It's students from all over the world, from Africa, from Asia, from everywhere, but from Arab countries. And like you said, they would have already studied whatever madhab it is in their country. They would have had a background. They would know the view on one madhab, whether it's a Maliki, Shafi'i or Hanafi. So, now they're in university level studies, they can do comparative fiqh as well, which is, So that makes sense.
So maybe that was the reason. Again, I'm not too sure exactly why, but that could be a wisdom. So we started this now, just studying one madhab. But they've switched it back now. So the new students now, they go in and do bidayah as well. So
they're not studying Rawd al-Murba anymore?
No, so that was just a few years. I was in one of those batches, alhamdulillah. So we're carrying on with our Rawd, and they're doing bidayah. They're doing the comparative.
So everyone that's doing, now I'm sure you're having those that are in your group saying, yeah, well, Rawd is the best.
Yeah, 100%.
The ones that in the new ones say, no, bidayah is the best.
When you see them revising for the exams, we just feel alhamdulillah, you know, because they're dealing with all these different aqwal and different opinions, and us just
humbly straightforward. Yeah, I mean, just so that everyone knows, in all the other universities in the Mamlaka, they study Rawd, right? Don't they? Like in Qasim or Jamt al-Imam. And Jamt al-Imam as well, I think they do Rawd as well, because it's generally speaking, the fiqh is it's a Hanbali country basically in terms of their fiqh specifically. So, what's it like in the Jam, in the Kulliyah of Sharia? How is it? What's your day like? How difficult is it?
A lot of subjects.
A lot of subjects. Give us a breakdown quickly, a brief breakdown of a day in the life of Fahim.
Sure. So you have a lot of subjects, a lot of different subject areas, you know, not only Islamic. So nowadays we have economics, we have entrepreneurship as a subject. You have many different subjects, and of course you have the Islamic ones as well.
Yeah. So they've mixed it a bit more, business administration and stuff like that.
Yeah, many different things. So they've tried to integrate, you know, a lot more modern sort of subjects into the system as well, which has its benefits for the Saudi students more than those who are going back to their countries. Yeah. Again, because a lot of the laws and a lot of the subjects that they teach specific to admin,
in
to the
Saudi.
admin side of things. Yeah, it's more so for the Saudi working person. But yeah, you have that. So on a general day, you'll have a spread of different subjects, and more so you'd have more hours for the subject that you've chosen. In this case, if you're in Sharia, then you'd have more fiqh. So you just kind of go through that, alhamdulillah, you go through the lessons, teacher usually turns up. They have different teaching methods. If you think every teacher is going to go through the book, then it's not always the case. Some of them say no books at all, just listen. Others say, open up the books. Others say open up their own mudhakirat. Or mudhakkira, sorry, and which is like a guide or a revision book that they put together. Yeah. So everyone has their own method. Some of them even have PowerPoints. Yeah. So it's all different. Yeah. It's all different. You go through that, inshallah, and alhamdulillah, sit a few exams. Yeah. And after that, you're good.
How many semesters are there in a year now? Because that changes as well from 1 point.
Yeah, that did change. So we have 6 semesters. No, sorry, that's 6 semesters. No, my bad. 8 semesters throughout the whole program, 2 semesters a year. Yeah. So it's a 4-year program, 8 semesters in total, 2 semesters an academic year. But they did change it to 3. They changed it to 3. I think they was trying to copy the American system. Yeah. And then they realized it's not the best. Yeah,
so. It didn't work out, so they changed it back to 2. Yeah. How much holidays, how much breaks do you get?
Right now it's around that 2 months. Okay. 2 months in the summer. As for the winter breaks, around about 2 weeks, 3 weeks max.
Yeah. And how many of those do you get?
So in the winter you get a break, but now they've actually introduced something known as midterm breaks as well, which weren't around before, right? And this is like a week, 2 weeks sometimes, maybe in November.
Pretty much like university in the UK now.
Similar, yeah, that's it. And they allow people to leave now during those as well, mashallah.
Where before you couldn't leave.
Yeah, before it was only in the winter break you'd have to request it, and in the summer you're gone.
And the tickets for the other breaks you have to pay for yourself, and the summer break they give you a ticket to come back home.
That's right, yeah. So the summer they pay for you, and the rest you have to pay yourself.
Makafa'a, are they ever going to increase it, do you think? Bearing in mind that it hasn't changed, or is there any talk of that?
I think it hasn't changed since 1998.
But prices for students have stayed the same then as well?
Yeah, it's all been the same. So up until today we still get 840 riyals, which is around about £170, if I'm not mistaken. Could be a bit more. Yeah.
Into your bank account straight.
Yeah. I actually pulled out the mukafa today.
Really?
So I came here, alhamdulillah. So
it helped you. Yeah, 100%. You're still getting it. Helped you.
Exactly.
It helped while in the UK.
100%.
Paid for your ticket to come to Medina College.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, I pulled it out today actually. So yeah, that still helps. Yeah. There's barakah in that.
Do you know how it used to be? You used to queue up and get cash.
Oh, really?
A wad of cash, basically. Before they didn't used to have bank cards or anything like that, but they introduced that in my time. So we used to do. The time the announcement came that there was Makafi, you'd know, because this guy would be walking through the jam with a briefcase. Yeah. the Makafi briefcase. He got loads of cash in there, basically. And he's already got it all like stacked out in 840 whatever riyals with a big fat staple holding it together, right? Yeah. So everybody used to be queuing up, used to rush to his office. and he'd only do it for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And once he's closed, that's it. You have to wait until the next day. Everyone's fuming because they were looking forward to getting their money. Yeah. And it was nice. You used to pick up some like cash, right? But then they changed it to bank cards and then Al-Rajhi Bank, and now it's easier. It's a lot better.
100%. But the Jamia, they do a lot. You know, even when a new student actually goes there, they give you almost like an advance or a bonus. Yeah. As soon as you get there, so they give you around 2,450.
Amazing.
If I remember correctly.
Just when you start.
Just when you start, and that covers you for your books and anything you need. Mashallah, and mashallah, it's helpful.
It's definitely helpful. Very, very helpful.
100%.
While you're studying, you're a student at the Jamia. Now, I first came across you, I think, on Instagram itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I saw some of your small kind of like reminders and stuff like that, which were really beneficial. Tell me about how you got into that, how you started actually, and how we got to Fahim with Arabic. And you had a bookshop as well that you were selling books.
Yeah, so an e-commerce kind of site.
E-commerce site as well.
That's right.
Yeah, tell me a bit about that other side of you. So while you're there, you're a student, you're studying. Yeah. You're also, doing your businesses on the side. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure. So, during that time, I used to actually make content before the Jamia. I just generally always been into filming, editing. Yeah. More so as a hobby. So as soon as I got to the Jamia, I don't think I did anything in my first semester. I think during the second semester, during COVID time, this is the time I actually started posting things, reminders. Yeah. Actually getting onto the camera, giving reminders and things like that. And it was just something that I used to do, and even till now I still try to do. So yeah, that's just something that I carried on with the. That's how we did meet, right? Yeah. And I think we did a live together, mashallah.
We did a live together. Yeah, that's right.
Based on the topic of marriage.
Yeah.
So that
big
was
topic
that.
Always.
Yeah, always.
We were just discussing it earlier.
Q&A.
Trying to help people get married.
Yeah, subhanallah. So that's something that happened, and also the e-commerce store as well. That was just something I used to sell, different sort of things, honey and books and everything. We did a project together, mashallah, as well, which was helpful.
How did that start? How did that start? Your e-commerce site. What made you do that? How did you begin it? If someone wants to set up an e-commerce site selling honey or selling, how do they go about that? So a student at the Jamia, for example, who wants to do something at the side and a living.
I wouldn't recommend it. I'll be honest with you, and that's from me going through that and actually coming out on the other side. I mean, it takes a lot of work. You have to be there. You have to be present. You have to be very dedicated. You have to be prepared to put in a lot of work and not get paid for it. Yeah. If you have that, and it's very unlikely in the Jamia that a student will have that, especially the time aspect sort of things and the money to actually fund advertisements and other things like that. I'd recommend something that's a lot more safe, or it's a lot more one way in terms of an hourly based sort of wage, or maybe a service that you can offer that you can get paid from, so that you can save. And if you wanted to get into e-commerce afterwards, maybe in the summer holidays, then you can do that, but you've got an ongoing capital. Yeah. So maybe something like offering editing services. That's something I always recommend now. If a new student actually comes to the Jamia and they say, what can I do for money? To learn how to edit, right? Whether it's CapCut, whether it's Premiere Pro, whatever you're using, just learn how to edit for this students in the Jamia making content who are looking for editors. Right? Yeah. People who are making courses that are looking for editors. So there's always work out there, mashallah, for editors. Tons of work going around. So yeah, learn how to edit, get onto that. And I think that's a really good thing for a Jamia student. Yeah.
You're quite entrepreneurial from our conversations. You've started up businesses, stopped businesses, you've tried businesses. What tips do you give to somebody that started a business and they don't think it's working, fail quickly so you can start again? Or what's your kind of, because how long did you have the shop for, the e-commerce shop?
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years. Yeah. At what point did you say, I'm going to stop this because it's, do you know what I mean? When do you know that it's not worth you've invested money, you've spent money. Some people might think, okay, I'm going to keep spending money because I've already spent money. What's your...
So it depends on the business, and it depends on, on the reason why as well, I guess. This business itself, this unique business, so this particular business, was due to the fact that the profit wasn't worth the time that I was putting in. So I was putting in a lot of hours, and the profit that I was getting from it wasn't actually balancing out, and I found myself putting in a lot more hours than I was actually getting paid. And if I was just to do a regular job teaching online or anything else like that, then the hourly rate would outweigh the profits I was making for the whole month by a lot, right? So I thought, okay, it's time consuming, it's quite stressful at this time with studies. launching new products and managing different things. Let me just put a pause onto that and focus on something else, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that. But I'd say knowing when to cut it off is very important. You have to know when to cut it off. And sometimes you just have to know when it's a bad idea. Sometimes you've just got a bad idea. Oftentimes, people come to me with ideas and things like that, and I don't agree with it, and I'll tell them, quite honestly, I say, I hope you don't mind, but I feel like there's not enough effort being put into this, and a lot of them are companies that sell fragranced oils, right? And when they're selling them with just the basic gold caps and standard oils that you find everywhere.
Yeah. The Muslim business, but the Muslim business is fragrance oils.
Yeah. And it's great that you're doing something, but you can go to Saudi and pick that up for 5 riyals, 10 riyals. I'm not going to pay you £15 for it. Yeah. Right? Just as a support, maybe, or just in the masjid out of convenience, I'll buy that. Yeah. But let's be honest, you know how much you got that for. I know how much you got that for. I know how much I can get it for. Yeah. It's not something that you want. For me, it's always been something where you have to sell something that you'd be happy to gift to someone else, not only use yourself, because you'll compromise for yourself, but in terms of a gift, you're going to have a lot more, that you think about. You can have many more layers that you go through in terms of actually buying a gift. So think about something that you'd gift to someone and try to sell that, because it'll be easy to sell. Yeah. Because you'd buy it yourself. So I'd say know when it's a bad idea, number one. Number two, evaluate if you can actually make more money doing something else. And it has to be realistic as well. So as long as you're getting capital or you're getting paid more by doing something else in that time, then maybe that's not such a bad idea, even if that's a job. Yeah. And a lot of the times it is. Yeah. And that's a tough one as well.
I think when I was there, myself and a couple of my friends, we were teaching English on the side, basically just to make some extra income. And again, you didn't need much apart from the fact that you speak English and you're from England.
That's it, yeah.
So you're in the top 5% because just by nature, do you get what I mean?
Just by who you are,
Just by who you are. Forget the qualification. Oh, you speak English from England? Come, we'll give you a job.
Yeah, that's it, alhamdulillah. But you can't really make a loss on that, right? Yeah. You can't really make a loss on that.
No. And you do private tuition as well, or in institutes.
Exactly. And as a student, the last thing you want to be thinking about is a loss. Yeah. Right. So that's not something nice to deal with whilst you study.
You've tried other businesses. You had an Umrah company.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that didn't go too well.
How long was that going for?
For a year.
How many Umrahs did you do?
2 tours.
Two tours. Why did you stop that? And what advice would you give to all the brothers now that have set up or are setting up or did set up and aren't continuing their Umrah companies?
Yeah. Okay. So
there was a big kind of push at one point, wasn't there?
So this is some free advice, right? And I know these Umrah companies that are charging to teach others Umrah, and they might not like me for saying this stuff, but again, free advice here. Yeah. That's going to save you a lot of money, right? There are 2 ways of actually setting up an Umrah company. Either that you go and find the contacts yourself, and you go and make the contracts with the hotels yourself and the airlines yourself, or usually with a travel agent, or that you buy a pre-formulated package and you sell that with your profit on top. Go for option number 2 in the beginning. Why? Because it's something that's set, something that's guaranteed almost that you're going to make profit with, inshallah. You can run it. And eventually you get to option number 1. But this is a lot later down the line, where you've been coming to the hotel so much, you've got the right links, you've got the right connects, and you've got the right people in places that you can make good profits and have good deals. But I'd say for anyone who's looking to set up an Umrah company, then find a travel agent that you can work with that sets you up that package for you. Yeah. So including your flights, including your hotels, your transport, and all of these other things like that. Take that package. Let's say, for example, it's £1,000. You put on £100 on top or £150 on top, and you just sell that. Yeah. Very nice and easy. And in terms of getting the sales, then you can get maybe someone who's a bit popular, maybe an influencer, someone to actually push it or come onto the tour with you as well. Yeah. Give the ticket free, pay them as well, of course. Yeah. And you're good to go. Yeah. So that's that piece of advice there will save a lot of people a lot of money. Yeah. And it will also, inshallah, hopefully allow a lot of people to set up their company if they want to do that. Yeah. I did option number 1. Yeah. Yeah. That's why you. Which is why I'm giving this advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Why you're saying go for option number 2?
100%. 100%.
It's easier.
100%. I mean, you're going to go there as a new starter, hoping to get the rates of massive companies.
It's not going to happen at all.
It's not going to happen. You haven't got the quantity. You haven't got the reputation. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Unless you pull off something crazy, you've got a good contact, a good connect. But yeah. Option number 2 is the safe way.
Would you recommend? You didn't continue it.
No.
Why not? And what would you say to someone that might want to be thinking about doing it now? Because for me, I think your advice is spot on. I mean, I've been involved in it a little bit myself. But it is a lot of work at the time. And at the same time, they've opened up it where people can kind of just go by themselves and do it by themselves now.
Exactly.
So you wonder how much more of a market there's. There's obviously a market because there's tours now. They're doing the tours instead, isn't it? It's more to do with tourism. Visit these places, have a guided tour, go here, go there. It's massive. That's become massive now. So that's how they're now packaging it.
Yeah.
But everyone's doing the same tours. There's only so many places you can visit,
100%,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, if someone's on the cusp of thinking about doing it, what would you say do it? Would you say don't do it? Would you say pray istikhara just and then see? You're not going to lose anything. If it doesn't work, stop. Like you did, for example. What's your kind of advice?
I'd say it depends where you are. If you're in the masjid, you're someone who's close with the community, you know you can bring up those numbers. You can take 30 to 40 people. Go for it. Go for it. If it's something that you want to do.
40 people first time out, do you need to take that many people to make a profit, you reckon?
No, you don't have to. I think even if you take 20, you make a good profit. But it has to be worth it, because if you think about it, you're paying for your ticket, you're paying for your partner's ticket most of the time if you've got a partner, business partner here. Paying for the person that you're taking, if you're getting filming done and all of these other things like that as well. So after all of these expenses, if you're taking only 15 people, it's going to be really tough for it to be worth it for you. And if you actually think about it, the amount of hours that go into it, if you were just to work in Tesco's, you'd make more, right? For those hours.
Yeah.
So, for me, it's always been get the some amount of profit, break it down, divide it by the amount of hours that you're expected to put in. Think about it on an hourly basis and think, wait a second, can I actually make more by just editing videos or by doing something a lot easier? So I'd say 20 to 40, you're going to make, inshallah, a good profit margin. I took 47 people, I took a loss, so imagine.
47, it was a loss?
On the
first time around? Second time around, did you make a profit?
Loss,
Loss as well, so that's where you cut your losses in.
I cut my losses, know when to cut it out and give the advice to take option number 2, so...
if you went option number 2, would you have made a profit, and it would have been a good enough profit for you to continue? So why don't you start option number 2? What's stopping you doing that?
So me taking that loss actually allowed me to actually open up the Arabic Institute,
which we're going to get to right now. Good. Okay, let's go.
So if I never took that loss, I wouldn't have opened up the Arabic Institute. Allahu A'lam.
There's the benefit of actually losing.
100%. I took that loss, alhamdulillah. My partner covered a lot of the loss as well, who helped me out, and he was supporting me from the very beginning. He's actually my mentor as well, mashallah. Business mentor. He's been helping me with my e-commerce and everything else as well, So I took that loss. He helped me out helped me covering that loss. I just didn't have any more money. Right? I was out, and I thought I need to have something steady. Just like you teaching English, I thought teaching, it's steady. It's only one-way income. I can focus on my studies and just carry on teaching. Inshallah, hopefully that's something I can do. So I started that. Been teaching for a while now, alhamdulillah, and now I've started packaging things up, making pre-recorded content with the aim of giving that to the students, but also giving a mentored service as well, which I mentioned to yourself earlier, which would be something along the lines of speaking classes and bi-weekly calls and things like that, right? So I think it's extremely tough for someone just to zone in and learn a new language on their own just by watching videos, right? So they need both, and I've kind of gathered this together, alhamdulillah, this course together. It's what I've been doing for the last 8 months, just recording and editing, recording and editing. And the program is something I created over the last few years as well, alhamdulillah. So
tell us a bit about the program. It's called Arabic with Fahim. And also, I think, as we were having a discussion, we were mentioning some of your kind of experiences teaching Arabic over the past 3 years. That you've got a new method that's kind of tailored that you've actually come up with. Tell us a bit about it, the jargon, the terminology, stuff like that.
So the terminology and just the general course itself, I've actually put it together in my own way, rather than teaching straight from a book or annotating a book and all of these things, which do work and have worked, and that's the way I learned it in the university. I actually took it and used more Western methods that we're used to, PowerPoints, explanations, visual aids, and things like that. So I actually took the traditional method of teaching Arabic and customized it a little bit in my own way, used terminology that allowed the concept to be understood rather than remembered. So that was my kind of goal with that. Also, just changing...
Sorry, just stop there. Give us an example of that. You mentioned earlier, instead of saying marfu', which means nominative, and majroor, which means genitive, mansoob, which means accusative. What do you say? What's your jargon?
Instead of marfu', which is literally the definition of it, the default state. When you take a word on its own, Marfu', it's marfu', meaning it's in the default state, the way it's primarily represented is with the dhamma. Right? It can be other things, but primarily it's the dhamma. The majroor state, we say it's the pull down state, the state that's pulled down, and that makes you think about the kasra. It's the only thing which is on the bottom there. And again, the kasra is just a primary representative. It could be other things, such as the ya noon or the waw and noon and other things, the other states or the other signs of jar. And then the mansub, I leave it as that. It's the only one that you kind of remember it. It's the only remaining one, right? So stuff like that, or even just changing the order of na'at and man'ud, right? Which is basically a word and its attribute, and we can get into it, right? But you need a separate class for that. But just changing it over to man'ud and na'at. Why? Because in Arabic, appears after. So just by saying that, it allows you to remember it a bit easier. So small changes like this, making acronyms, making different...
Give me the acronym. I like that acronym for Na'at and Man'ud you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the ding concept. I call it the ding concept. Generally, when I'm kind of going through like a text with my students, I'll say, what is this? They say the ding concept. That's what they call it, right? Definiteness, i'rab, number, and gender. So when you have a concept, we call this the ding concept, the Man'ud and Na'at concept, they follow each other in these four things. Definiteness, meaning if it's known or unknown, usually shown by an alif lam, or a tanween if it's nakira, if it's unknown. The i'rab, meaning the end case or the way that it ends, its state generally.
The default state or the pull down state or the mansub.
They have to be matching. And then the number, whether it's single, dual, or plural, and finally the gender. The gender always matches except certain cases such as the numbers between 3 and 10. But generally, in words and nouns, they always match.
They always match, So
excellent. Just small kind of things like that help in terms of remembering things.
Alhamdulillah. So that's your kind of... I mean, I think this is also important for students as well. One of the things, when I went back to the Jamia, I think 4 years after graduating, we were speaking to students about... And one of the concerns that students have is, okay, after I finish the Jamia, I've got this degree in Islamic studies, I'm going to go back to the UK... But what am I going to do?
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I'm going to speak about that yourself, what your plans are, but I think one thing that's opened up through technology, digital content creation, is the ability for students to have their own online institute or own online platform where they can teach and get paid to teach as well at the same time for those that want to, as well as giving free content. So I think that's something which is always an option which is there for many of the students now. So you 100%. Find, for example, a lot of the brothers that have online institutes that they're teaching structured courses over the academic year, qualifying students afterwards to finish the text, finish the subject. So I think that's something which is really another opportunity for students as well.
Massive. So I think it's worth getting tech savvy, getting into these things, learning about Zoom and all of these things, because once you finish Jamia, you're going to be in that world anyway about figuring out what to do, figuring out how to earn money, and it's usually the same sort of answers. Go and work security or go and try and get into IT and all of these other things like that as well, which take time, are competitive markets, and you're going to be back home again. You can't be remote straight away in the beginning. Especially. We're speaking to each other now.
But when you're recording content, pre-recorded content, you're speaking to a camera. It's not easy to do. How do you get...
That's it.
What tips do you give to somebody? What setup do they need? The basic setup, the simple, get started setup that you'd give to someone. Because you've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, sure. So in the beginning, start off with your phone. It depends on the type of content you're making as well, I guess. If you're making YouTube content, if it's for da'wah, I say bite the bullet and invest. That's what I say. Save up the money, invest. Go for it. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that back, inshallah.
How much money? Invest in what? And why do you say invest and not purchase? Why not save up the money and buy something? Why is it called an investment?
I call it an investment. It's for you. It's for your da'wah. It's for your hereafter. It's more of an investment for your hereafter. Think about it as something, your contribution, the least you can do for the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. He's given you, especially if you're in the Jamia. He's given you the Jamia. The least you can do, even from that mukafa money, whatever you've got, the least you can do is go out and buy a good mic. Go out and buy a good camera. Allah's given you all of this. The least you can do is give back in that way, So to the people at least. So go and get a good camera. More important than the camera, I'd say nowadays, is a good mic. There's two mics that I'd recommend. One for sitting down and having actual classes or making actual content, that you're not speaking with others with, or that you're not remote with, or moving with, and that's the Shure microphone, right? So it's the one that you usually see as the podcast mic. It's the one that you're very close to. And then you have the DJI ones, which are like this, and I'd say this is probably more important for the Jamia students, for those who are giving da'wah generally, because they can be remote, they can take it with them to the masajid, they can go outside, they can do different things with it, right? Alhamdulillah, this is perfect, the DJI remote mic. You can also use your camera as well. The camera is completely fine. It depends on how deep you really want to go, but I'd say if you start off with a general camera phone and a good mic, you're good to go. And if you want to take it up a level and you want to start making YouTube videos, content, pre-recorded classes, this is when you need to start looking at getting a good camera. Yeah,
and lighting and a studio and a good backdrop, and there's a lot more to it.
There's
a lot more to it, but basically you can start with the most basic, would be a good camera and a good mic, basically. A mic and a camera phone.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. You know that, right? That as soon as you start getting a good light, now you got that light, you realize you need another light on the other side, and you need a key light behind you, and you need some other things as well, and the list goes on, right? You need a good background, something with a good color, pop of color here, and this. So it's a rabbit hole.
You can keep going on.
Yeah, so keep it basic in the beginning, get onto it, learn how to speak to the camera. It's going to take a lot of takes. It's going to take a lot of getting used to. You might make certain faces to the camera in the beginning. You might be posing all the time. You've got to break that and just keep on practicing. No one's born knowing all of these things. You have to get out there and practice.
Yeah, lovely. You got a year left of Jamia, year and a bit.
Yeah.
What's your plans afterwards?
I'm in two minds. I mean, staying over there is the primary option, and it's always been the primary option for the last at least 2 years. Just planning to stay over, remain in Medina, and come down to the UK every now and then. But recently, again, certain conversations have swayed me a little bit to coming back, getting involved in the community and things like that. So I guess still some time just to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
But it is extremely difficult to say, I've got the resources or the means to stay in Medina and the opportunity to stay here, but I'm going to go back. So that pull there is mostly just to be involved with the community.
Yeah.
But again, we was having that discussion, and I think both can be done. Maybe Allahu Akbar. I'm going to have to see how that plays out.
And if you're involved in the community, what does that look like? What does that mean? I mean, for a student, you can see examples of du'a that are involved in the community, examples of du'a that are working full time and giving da'wah remotely, meaning they're producing online content more than on-site content while they're in the country, but they could be doing that from another country. And there's examples of du'a that are in other countries but coming over.
Yeah,
there's a number of models which are possible in terms of So involved in the community, what would that look like for you in Cardiff?
What I mean by that is actually being involved in the Asian community more so.
Yeah.
I say that because, alhamdulillah, in Cardiff, we've got the Somalis, the Somali brothers, mashallah, who are doing a great job. They've got the masajid packed with lessons, loads of programs going on. But the Asians, especially the older Asian uncles and things like that, they attend the masajid more when they see someone that they can speak Bengali to, that they can speak Urdu to, that they can communicate with in their own language. So being there, being available, being there to answer questions, hold classes, being available for the youth as well, just for them to know that, okay, we've got someone there, someone we can go and speak to, someone that's holding weekly classes, programs and things like that. Others can fill that role. I mean, but then again, you have to ask yourself, is there anyone from that specific category, from that community, from that category of people that can actually fill that role?
And you're born and raised Cardiff.
Yeah. So that's
schooled at Cardiff.
Yeah, that's it.
Got in trouble in Cardiff.
Everything.
And then went to Medina from Cardiff. So Cardiff misses you and Cardiff needs you.
That's the thing. Yeah. So that's the thing. So I don't know. Maybe both can be done. Medina and then come to Cardiff every now and then. Allahu A'lam, but
But at the moment, you're still kind of 50-50, not sure what you're going to do.
Yeah,
if you did stay in Medina and continued, what would you continue doing? Studying, or would you?
Studying and teaching. I mean, so mostly teaching Arabic. I mean, that's the thing that I'm trying to do right now, more than anything after than studying. Just teaching Arabic, refining the course, refining my teaching methods and things like that. And that takes a lot of my time at the moment. But after Jamia, inshallah, hopefully carry on learning and carry on teaching. That's about it, to be honest with you.
Brilliant.
Alhamdulillah.
Last piece of advice. What advice do you give to students that are just starting at the Jamia? I know we've done it throughout the talk anyway.
Yeah.
But just kind of like the closing advice, students that are going to be going in September or January this year, what would be your kind of like number one advice or your advice to them?
Sure.
As a current student, right?
I'd say hold on to the basics. And the reason I say that is because as soon as you get into the Jamia, as soon as you start going through the academic levels, Islam might start to become a bit more academic than it becomes for piety, and that's a sad reality for a lot of us and for a lot of students. That it becomes more academic. It becomes more about how many books have I completed rather than how is my relationship with the prayer and how's my relationship with the Quran and how's my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It becomes something more academic than religious. You see what I'm saying there? Like it's easy to get lost within the texts, you know, the deep academic studies. So hold on to the basics. Hold on to the prayers. Hold on to your routines that you had in the beginning that used to give you that boost of iman, and hold on to those acts of worship. You know, rather, everything that you learn should reflect in your acts of worship, and that's something that's going to make you not only appreciate what you know already, but it's going to motivate you to go and get more. So focus on that. Focus on being in the masjid. Focus on working on yourself, learning more, so that you can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better, and that's ultimately going to help you. And gaining that knowledge without that is scary.
Yeah.
It holds you down. It holds you down. Literally, you feel it holding you down, and you feel like that knowledge that you're getting is a burden for you to carry, and it's a proof against you at the end of the day for all of us. So, I'd say just make sure to the best of your ability. This is a reminder for us all as well that what we're learning is translated into acts of worship, into obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ultimately helps us get closer to Him. And I think if that's the goal, then a person, inshallah, they're always going to have that thirst for knowledge, because they see the effects that it has on their worship, and they see the effects that the worship has on their life. And it's inshallah going to be an ongoing cycle.
Jazakallah khair. One last thing I just came to mind as you were speaking. Invite somebody on. Who would you like to invite on from your
call outs? Mashallah.
Do a call out. Call somebody out. Who are you going to call out?
Let's see. I have to think well about this one. You need a brother named Ashiq.
Ashiq.
Yeah. Known as Abu Anas.
Abu Anas.
Yeah.
Current student?
Current student.
What year of Jamia?
Same year as me.
Same year as you.
A year and a bit.
Based in London or Cardiff?
London. You need this, brother. Yeah, he's got a few stories for you, mashallah.
We'd like you to come on, inshallah. So you've heard the call out. I'm not sure when you'll see this video. Hopefully it's still in the summer.
Inshallah.
So inshallah, expect a phone call this week from
you need
Sheikh Fahim, and hopefully if he says yes, I'll follow up myself. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair for joining me on In the Maktaba.
It's been a pleasure.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.